That's the highway on 160 for anyone who's wondering. Looks like Corey Gomez. Thanks, folks.
Hi, I'm Corey Gomez. I'm from Gardner, and I'm here about the road closure on County Road 565. I know it's gone through the Planning Commission. We did object to it at that point. On behalf of ourselves as private landowners in Costco Ranch, we're not objecting to that closure. We are here to learn more about the easement pieces, provisions that were put on there as it goes through, and I'm here if there's questions for the part that goes through Costco Ranch.
Thank you.
Sure.
Theodore, and I think the last name is Nate.
Hello, good morning. My name is Theodore Nagel. I own lot 31 in City Ranch, and I've owned it for maybe about 7 years. For the past 6 years, I've had access. It's off of 595. It goes through a neighbor's property. Recently, they put up a tire wall. They don't want me to go through, and well, my son's bus stop and everything's been down there. There is a back way in, but it hasn't been maintained in so long, and there's no bus stop or anything like that. So I've been straight out the property for like a week, barely cut out this morning. And now I got a neighbor on the other side saying I can't go out that way. So I don't really know what to do. I need somebody to look at that.
Appreciate it.
No. So the county's not empowered to do anything about this situation.
Okay.
They're not permitted to landlock you though. So
Right.
this is a civil matter. You have to take that with the courts.
Okay. Everybody keeps sending me somewhere else. So I'm just trying to find out, you know what I mean? But I was told originally by one of the inspectors, or the building inspectors or county inspectors. Originally, when the neighbor out the other way said I couldn't go, he came out and he told me that was originally a county road, but that they closed it off for grazing land or whatever temporarily. And that he told me that was my way out. And now, like I said, the neighbor said I can't use that route no more. So I don't know.
I asked Dustin about that road, and he said that they closed it off for grazing land.
Which county road is that?
What road was that? 560, 595?
It's 595.
595.
Yeah.
Which is closed.
Yeah, it's closed through their property. 595's on, on both ends of their property, but at their property, it's gated off.
So if you look at the map, you can see where it comes down, stops, and starts again.
Right. I have a map that I can show it to you if you want.
Thank you.
It's vacated or it's closed.
It doesn't show anything, it's just gone.
Thank you.
This is my property, and this is their property here.
You're the
Yeah, this is them. 595 on the maps here, 595's here, but it's gated off here.
I know.
Mark and Gardner.
Show this down. This is property. This is the neighborhood that we right one of the first steps, but then it continues here.
Oh, well.
Yes. Stormy with your last name.
Yeah, and LE.
See where it continues on the other side.
The neighbor property is in the top right corner of the blue.
So my initial assumption is that road was vacated at some point in time. We need to do some work with the clerk of the recorder's office to verify that. If it was not vacated, then you should still have access. And actually, even if it was vacated, depending on the vacation was done, you should also still have access. I still advise that you probably should get a lawyer for this. But we'll look in our records and see what we have there.
I tried to look for a vacation and I wasn't able to find one.
When you purchased your property, did you get title insurance?
I guess yes and no. I did when it was in my daughter's name, but when it switched from my daughter's name. So, yeah, I guess it probably won't carry over.
No, but you could look on her title insurance to see if there's any access on the actual policy that
Okay.
was issued to you. That might help a little bit.
I know they checked to see if there was any easements and stuff, and they said there was nothing.
Sherry, you have his contact information?
No, I'll be,
Yeah. It's Theodore Nagel.
I wrote it down.
My number is 719-252-6160. You can give him my email if you want. It's Nagel, NAGLE, TEE@cloud.com. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So we will look into it.
Look into it.
Sherry will get with you if we find anything, but as Carl mentioned, probably a lawyer is also a good option.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Did you want your map back?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but
You need a picture of it from Carl?
Just fix it.
You might need to know, can you let Sherry know whose name is on the property now so we can look it up? It's your daughter's, you said?
It's mine.
It's your
property.
From the
Yeah, I
daughter.
just switched it over a few months ago. She moved out of state.
It is in his name. I did look it up.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, that's all I have for public comment in the room. Do I have any public comment online?
Give me 1 second.
What's that?
Yeah, Frank Oberlin.
Okay, Frank? Can you state your name for the record? Frank, can you hear us okay? It looks like you're muted.
My apologies. I'm not very technological.
Yeah.
My name is Frank Oberlin. I live in Oklahoma. We own a piece of property out at the end of County Road 576. And I had written a letter to Carl to hopefully get on your agenda and make a request to get an address through the U.S. Postal Service assigned to this location so that we could get primarily a hardline telephone installed on the property. There is already an electrical drop on the property. We're going to be putting an RV out there on a concrete flatwork foundation with propane and septic as a temporary residence so that we can monitor the construction of our permanent retirement home later next year. And I was informed that the county does not issue addresses unless a residence has started, and would ask the commissioners to consider the RV and its permanent nature on the property as a residence. And if that is unpalatable, setting a bad precedent, then to consider granting us an exception to the policy on the basis that my wife has health issues and I do need to have a hard line to be able to get a life flight to her in the event she has a seizure.
Thank you for that. We are on public comment section 4. So if you can stick around, or if you'd like to, there's will be addressed in action item, which is item number 7, and it'll be line item E. So we have a request, it's on the agenda, and we can discuss it at that time. If you're unable to continue on, this might be a lengthy meeting, but we will absolutely discuss it in action items.
My apologies for jumping
No,
in at the time.
This-
Thank you so much.
That's fine. Absolutely fine.
Yep, absolutely. We wanted to hear from you, so thank you. Moving on to, well, is there anyone else online? I didn't see anyone, but I'll do another call. All right, moving on to appointments.
Nothing wrong.
Thank you and good morning.
Good morning.
I'm here to present the annual State of the Byway report to the Huerfano County Commissioners and to review our 4-year-old memo of understanding between the commissioners and the Scenic Highway of Legends. This year, the Scenic Highway of Legends celebrates 35 years of operating at a nonprofit organization solely powered by volunteers. And during that, scores of residents, outdoor enthusiasts, elected officers, and business owners have given their talents, knowledge, labor to preserve, protect, and promote the byway. The first grassroots meeting for the Scenic Highway of Legends was organized in 1987 with the purpose of encouraging economic development and preserving the intrinsic qualities along the byway. Today, the foundation and mission of the Byway Board remains pretty much the same: economic development and preservation. With many of the Colorado destinations now becoming overly loved, and with more and more Colorado residents looking for places to play outdoors, there is no doubt that the economic benefits of the byway brings to the area will continue to grow. But what's scary is the increase in traffic, litter, graffiti, vandalism, and accidents that the other Colorado attractions have been experiencing. So the need for stakeholders to preserve and protect our American byway has never been greater. Here's the plan. About 3 years ago, many of you participated in the long comprehensive planning and environmental linkage study, the PEL study, which was completed along Highway 12 to determine the feasibility of having the Scenic Highway of Legends as the southern loop of the Colorado Front Range Trail. The object of this particular study was to produce a long-term master plan to provide safety and multimodal trails and visitor wayfinding along the 82 miles of the Scenic Highway of Legends. Upon completion, the PEL study recommended improvements, features, and amenities that could be built along the byway in phases. This study is instrumental in motivating the byway to find money to produce some of these much needed priority projects. After a couple of years of looking for the right grant and writing grants, last June, the Scenic Highway of Legends received a letter announcing that they have been approved through funding through the CDOT's Transportation Alternative Program, which is TAP, to design and build a PEL recommended multimodal wayfinding exhibit system on Highway 12. Both Huerfano County and Los Animas County jumped on board to pay the 20% match. South Central's Council of Governments agreed to be the fiscal administrator. So it sounds like we were on our way, but here's the caveat. Federal funds, they're allocated for transportation improvement projects, and they do not cover maintenance of the program once it's done. So the byway has volunteered to take over the maintenance of the signage and the other attractions that will be put in place. And we have done this because it's basically that or lose $500,000 in funding that the Scenic Highway Board just felt was too important to give away. Since there's also a thing about signing, it's not just attracting people and educating people, but it's been proven that the research shows that outdoor recreation and tourism signage helps people respect the areas, and they will treat it better all on its own. The other side of that, of course, is that we'll be whatever is needed to keep those signs looking good. So the stakeholder members fee that was put into place about 3 years ago through our memo of understanding with the counties, towns, and tourism boards along the byway is very important at this time. It's able to pay not only now our usual expenses that the byway has, being a state and national byway, we have mandatory things that we need to do that cost money. So we are totally without any support. So ultimately, the byway will also pay for this, pay for the maintenance, and we'd like to be building up our coffers so we can also take advantage of other funding that might become available to do the matches. So thank you for your time. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer for you. But our membership fee is more important than ever. The county has been asked in the past for $6,000 annually. Any questions? Do you want an invoice?
John, Sarah, any questions?
John?
I just want to say to Deb, thank you so much for your involvement all of these years since, my goodness, 20 years or more in all of this. So thank you very much for all that you've done for the byway. What's it look like from the other county and the other members for their participation in the fee?
With continuing the MOU, are you speaking of, or the grant?
The MOU.
The MOU. Marty's working on the Los Animas side of the thing, but I have committed, I have presented to the tourism board, and I had an appointment with La Vida. I haven't made an appointment yet to talk with Walsenburg, but they will be asked as well. I don't know if I haven't found a signed MOU from them in the past, so kind of start from scratch. But again, until the maintenance part of this comes in and the grant is initiated, right now, I don't know how much we will need. Our MOUs with the counties and cities and tourism boards in the past has been enough to cover our mandatory travel that's necessary and stakeholder meetings that we have. So we're good. We don't have to raise it right now. That's the good news. Okay.
And do all the entities you mentioned pay a equivalent share of the 6,000, or is it all different?
The counties pay 6,000, tourism boards pay 6,000, La Vida pays 150, Trinidad is 250. So it's a little different. It's based on a program that's been used by a byway up by the Elk Loop and worked very successfully, and we had some hiccups ourselves with the boards in the past, so we may have missed some, but it's pretty consistent and works very nicely for them. So that's why we adopted it.
And is that 6,000 split between
Oh,
multiple?
excuse me, 600.
Oh, 600, okay.
No,
That's a big
$600.
difference. That's a
No,
big difference. Okay.
no, yeah.
I was like, holy.
Oh, just a zero.
Yeah.
No, $600.
Well, you almost got 6,000.
Yeah. That's tourism board said, can we give more? I said, well, of course.
Right, assume that 600 is budgeted.
Yeah, we have money for sales for that. Send me an invoice.
Pardon me?
Send me an invoice.
I got one.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much,
thank
Deb.
you.
We appreciate all
Appreciate
your hard work.
Yeah, that's nice.
We're also needing, new members with this new work that's coming about.
Would anyone like to entertain a motion for the suggested donation?
I'd entertain that. Oh, no.
We don't need, oh, it's within your budget.
And it's also, you got there's an agreement written for it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Sounds like we have an agreement and don't need a motion.
There you go.
Thank you,
Okay.
Deb. All right, moving on to the county public trustee quarterly report with Deborah Reynolds.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good. Okay, so I'm kind of past due, but we have to get it anyway. So on my quarterly report, let me pass out some of these to you all. Who's chair today? Is it you, Veronica?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have one for John, but
I was getting to it.
he doesn't get it.
Thank you.
So foreclosures are still kind of slow. So right now I have 2 foreclosures that I'm doing, that I opened in this first quarter. I have confirmation deeds, which is the process of foreclosures I've done. I did 3. There was a redemption by another bank on one of them. I had 52 releases. And that's all I have on those. Any questions for those? And then I have a couple of questions about the approval of that.
Any questions, John?
I have none. I'd make a motion to approve the public trustees quarterly report.
I'd second that.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's call for the vote.
Chairman Brisha,
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill.
Yes.
Motion passes.
And then real quick before I leave, the 2 abatements, Carl, that you emailed me because the customers have come in, I have not received them. So they're lost between you guys. When you sent them to me, they weren't numbered, and normally I always get them from Erica. So I haven't done them, and that was like a month ago.
Seems like a job for him.
Yeah, actually, that is I think what's happened.
Yep.
We couldn't print it off, so you got them, but you got copies.
They're not numbered or anything.
Right.
So did I?
Write it on there. So I'll go down and write it on there for you.
And I only have one, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I want to keep the one I was done with. Okay, so give me those so I can get them done. And then real quick, I know there's green sheets going around for employees and all, and I was looking at them and so Blanca's been with me for 3 years and she's done her probationary period, but I never ever looked at a probationary period for her, so she never got any money. And she is now, people coming into the county on entry level, she's below that. So I'm requesting that her probationary period from 3 years ago be looked at, and if I could submit a green sheet for her to bring her up a little more than entry level that is happening right now, if that's possible. That was my fault, my overlook. I told Alicia I didn't know there was a probationary period. I just hired and said, let's go. She is bilingual. She's helping at the 2nd floor. She helps out with our offices. I think Eric has called on her before, some of them. So that has really helped. Elaine left and she was bilingual in your office, right? Oh, Hannah. So yeah, so we're fortunate to have that too. If I could work on that for your next meeting.
What's the dollar amount?
So if we could bring her to 37 at least.
What is the increase?
She's at 33 and I think entry level is 35.
Depends on the position.
Pardon me?
Depends on the position.
We're admin finance clerk we're doing admin work through the finance office. I can give you that. I think we did all their titles and everything. And now too, we took on GPID to be the collectors of all of them. They call us, they're doing credit card payments, they're coming in, they're paying us, and we're doing all of that process, which they're just doing, none of them have ever gotten compensated for any of that. We took on waste transfer, which now is going out, but they've never ever paid. We just took it on to help out in our profession. Plus all our changes are coming up. Right now we have a bunch of new legislation coming up that's going to hit my office. With this transfer speed stuff is going to be kind of crazy, but anyway, so we're going to have a lot more of them working on some of that stuff too. So, and I'll come in for budget time and ask for raises for sure. But yeah, she was just one that was totally overlooked, and that was totally my fault. So, I'll submit green sheet and then you guys decide if that's okay. Okay. That's all I have. And Erica, if you could give me those two. Thank you very much.
Want to sit back?
Yes. Do you need that, Carl, to make a copy of it or whatever,
Yeah,
to
you
scan
want
it?
to make a copy of it and put it in my box?
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
This one signature. for
This one. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank
You
you.
guys have a
Thank
great day.
All right, moving on to land use.
Over the payment. And the only reason I got it, then obviously came in. Right, and got it from him.
Have we never done that? That's always coming to me and I signed it on.
Who numbered those abatements? Is it you, Carl? You guys numbered the abatements?
We did and taught me how to do it.
Oh, okay.
And like I said, it was just a pen that was on.
But I usually get the original with the original signature.
Wet signature, right, which we were waiting on to get from John.
Oh, it's John's fault.
No, so we'll have some stuff in there today.
Yeah.
When he's not here, it's always.
Oh, yes.
Thank
I
you.
didn't realize it was a signature as well. I thought it was just-
Yeah, I don't know if she got there a little bit.
I think
She was
it-
just a certain one.
Yeah.
But we'll get them.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you both.
Kick up this stuff.
Got her, but she didn't get them like she
Yep,
wants
yep,
them.
yep.
All right, Sherry.
All right, good morning, commissioners. I'm Shanice Chamberlain from the Land Use Office. The first thing that I have is a plat amendment to swap two parcels of land between Sam Ferris and the city of Walsenburg. The reason for this swap is the city of the Ferrises own the easement that goes into the Walsenburg where they get their water, the reservoir. And so they want to swap that piece of land and for another piece of land for the Ferrises. This report is on page 41 of your packets. So they want to improve the access. The city of Walsenburg wants to improve the access to the water plant, and then by this swap, they're going to change a 1.25 acres of property zone commercial for 8 acres of property along the river, which is zoned agricultural. So that would increase the plot size of both where the city of Walsenburg is and also for the Ferrises, and they're already adjoining. So with this application, the planning commission has reviewed it. We did receive comments from referral agencies. And hold on. No, there was no comments from the referral agencies. We sent them out to San Isabel Electric, Huerfano County Fire Protection District, and the city clerk of Walsenburg. We received no comments from it. On April 11th, the planning commission unanimously voted to recommend approval of the Ferris Walsenburg plat amendment land swap to the Huerfano County Board of County Commissioners. Any questions?
Question. Does this create a non-conforming parcel in either of those?
No. It'll still be conforming because you'll be adding just the acreage.
Okay.
Because they're going to add 8 acres to his previous acreage he previously, or he owns now.
So it's non-conforming, but it's contiguous to his additional acreage.
It's a non-conforming parcel that'll be.
So basically, as this application is going on, what we advised him to do, and we believe that he agreed to was to merge his 8 acres in with is contiguous acreage. So it would have been non-conforming if we had let it be a separate tract. But we're merging it in.
And that's been completed?
No.
It will be completed after this?
Yes.
Would you suggest it as a condition?
I would, just to make sure that happens the way we're expecting it to.
Thank you. Did you get all that, John?
Think so. So you want, as a condition of approval, you want the 8-acre parcel merged into the larger parcel, and then the city's parcel, that a standalone? Because that's zoned industrial or what?
That standalone is non-commercial, so it is conforming.
Okay. So the planning commission recommended approval without any conditions.
There is no conditions.
Okay, so I would make a motion to approve the plat amendment, providing the 8-acre parcel to the Ferris property owners be merged with the larger parcel contiguous to it.
Second that.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote.
Chairman Goshen,
Yes.
Commissioner Smollett,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes,
motion passed.
thank you, Sherry. You're welcome. Moving on to land use 22-054, the hoteling map amendment and vacation.
Sky Tomlin will be presenting.
Good morning, Commissioners. So this is an application that we heard a while back. And at that time, there were some unresolved questions around some deed restrictions on some of the parcels involved in this process. And since then, the applicant has gone through a quiet title process and resolved through the courts the question of those deed restrictions. And now we're bringing it back before the commissioners so that the commission can take action to recognize that. This is part of a larger application that when the commission previously reviewed it, they voted to neither approve nor deny. And so the whole application, which includes a plat amendment and a vacation of right-of-way, is back before you today. In addition to the vacation and the plat amendment, the applicant has a number of other requests, including assistance with surveying costs and some tax exemptions on some parcels that are not at this time going to be developed, and they have some public access granted on. So to review, to give you an overview of the update from the courts, from the quiet title process. In 2020, as part of the dissolution of Child Mountain Park Master Homeowners Association, these deed restrictions were removed. However, a homeowners association does not have the authority to remove a deed restriction according to section 2.02.11, section 2 of the Huerfano County Land Use Code, which states that deed restrictions and easements created as part of a subdivision cannot be removed without the consent of the Board of County Commissioners. So even though the quiet title process is complete, your consent to that should be articulated as part of this. Commissioners made a motion to either approve or deny the application and ask the applicant to seek a declaratory judgment from the courts supporting the claim that the deed restrictions were moot because the right to access the properties was granted to the dissolved Kuchar Mountain Park Resort. It was not clear at the time whether Kuchar Mountain Resort referred to the entire Panadero subdivision or if it was limited to members of the Kuchar Mountain Park Master Homeowners Association. The map number 425 that created the, or 405, I think, that created the Panadero subdivision was titled Kuchar Mountain Resort. So it wasn't really clear what that entity was. And there was also an entity called Kuchar Mountain Resort. And at that time, there was a lack of clarity there. As part of the judgment in the quiet title suit, the applicant stated that, quote, Kuchar Mountain Park can commonly be construed as the successor of Kuchar Mountain Resort. However, Kuchar Mountain Resort did not legally exist as an entity at the time of transfer of part of the subject property. These are tracts L3 and L3. The Kuchar Mountain Resort that is referred to in the warranty deed as reception number 340385 is not the same as Kuchar Mountain Resort, Inc., on file with the Secretary of State. Said entity was created more than a decade after the warranty deed. Therefore, the plaintiff asserts that declaring the restrictions regarding use of open space and common areas in this deed as no longer valid and enforceable, given the facts of the situation set forth herein. The applicant then filed a quiet title suit, which was settled in the Huerfano County District Court. That is attached here in your packet. That establishes that he owns the properties listed below in fee simple, and that no defendant has any title or interest to the property. The defendants named in the suit were Huerfano County and any and all persons who claim interest in the subject matter. The county attorney signed a waiver of acceptance of service on November 9th, 2023. And with the completion of the quiet title process, we can review again application number 22-54, and subsequently is a summary of the various requests. So the first request is a plat amendment rearranging the lot configuration in Kuchar Mountain Park, Title 4, to create 8 separate lots or 8 separate parcels out of the 5 tracts, and also to establish a private gated road as well as a non-motorized access easement north and south on the east side of parcels E and G. This pathway would provide access to the ski lifts located just south of the property, and the site is also known as tracts B1, B2, B3, L2, and L3. The Kuchar Mountain Park subdivision designated tracts B1, B2, and B3 with higher density limits than are allowed in the zone in which it's located, in the urbanizing residential zone. And part of this plat amendment is addressing those densities and redistributing those among the newly created parcels. There is a chart there for the proposed densities and proposed maximum densities later on in this packet. The overall, the aggregate density would be lower than what would be currently allowed on B1, B2, and B3. And it's not part of the applicant's intent at this time to build up to those densities, but to hold on to those in case the resort develops or becomes something that would make those appropriate at a future date. The second request is a request for property tax exemptions on lots E, G, and H, as long as they remain undeveloped, and in exchange for a proposed 50-foot perpetual easement on the east side of parcel E and G, and a 20-foot public as well as the southern portions of parcels E and G containing ski runs. Public access will be granted to the entirety of these parcels as long as they remain undeveloped. A note here, property tax exemptions must go through the state property tax administrator, and if the property were to be deed restricted as open space and development disallowed, the county would use a different formula to assess the property value than is used for vacant land. The third request is for Huerfano County to pay 25% of the total survey costs, which were estimated at between $6,000 and $12,000, in exchange for the dedication of the 50-foot access easement and use of parcels E and G as public spaces while they remain undeveloped. Fourth request is a vacation of part of Yosemite Lane and Teton Ridge Drive. Yosemite Lane previously served to give access to the recreational easement on tract L3 and to tract B3. With the elimination of tract L3 and the reconfiguration of tracts into parcels E, G, and H are accessible through the non-motorized access easement, the proposed non-motorized access easement. The 50-foot wide segment of parcel H that extends along the border with the National Forest is not marked as an easement, and it includes a gate. The purpose of this segment, so this is that sort of chimney stack looking parcel. The purpose of this segment is to create a buffer between the Forest Service land and parcels D and F to reduce insurance costs for improvements on those parcels. Public access would be allowed on parcel H as long as it remains undeveloped. County ownership. The county came to own these roads as part of a tax sale. They were not deeded to the county as right-of-way with the original filing on map 425. Senator Development File number 4 from 1999. One of the notes states that Yosemite Lane, Teton Ridge Drive, and Denali Ridge Road are private ownership access roads to be maintained by the Guitar Mountain Park Estates Homeowners Association, and a 50-foot easement is granted for any underground utility in the private access road for the purpose of installing and maintaining any and all underground utilities within the right of way. A 50-foot easement is granted on all private access roads for emergency access. And the utility part of this easement is not a part of the request for vacation, just the access. You can see a few pages down, there's a map of the existing and proposed conditions. So you can see the reconfiguration of Teton Ridge Road, cutting through the entire property. Now, note that it is gated, so it is, as it's vacated, it would just be a private easement. And then the public access easement is this north-south private road that ends in a cul-de-sac between parcels G and H. And it continues through the southern portion of the parcel with a 20-foot pathway. So that's what we're looking at. Tracks L2 and L3 were the ones that had the deed restrictions on them, and that may have been for connecting to the ski resort through trails and other things. The zoning for the property is urban residential. And during the process, the applicant went through a couple iterations of what was being proposed, from 6 lots to 7 lots to 8 lots. Ultimately, the planning commission did approve did agree that the 8-lot configuration would be considered a plat amendment, as it's turning 5 lots into 8 lots. So that's not a significant number of new lots being created. Out of that, the threshold between what is a plat amendment and what is a subdivision in our code was a little bit up to determination of the planning commission. So they determined that this would be a plat amendment. Next, we have the configurations and densities, how many units would be allowed and what that approximate density amounts to. An average of 9.4 units per acre. So the process here for plat amendments is that the planning commission will review, determine whether or not it's a plat amendment, and then it comes to the Board of County Commissions for a meeting and a public decision. One of the eligibility requirements is that minor changes do not include modifications that significantly alter the intended land uses or density, and that the number of lots, circulation, drainage systems, and dedicated land encompass no more than 25% of land included within a recorded subdivision. The scope can include the adjustment of lot lines, replatting of lines, reconfiguration of lines, and easements and reserved sites. If more than 3 lots are created, the planning commission shall determine if the proposal shall be considered a plat amendment. On the 25% of the subdivision, Kuchar Mountain Park Estates filing 4 consists of approximately 61 acres, and the parcels reconfigured are on about 27.4 acres, or about 45% of the land within the subdivision. And so filing 4 was part of the larger Panadero subdivision, and so we looked with the planning commission. We looked at, does this still meet the criteria for a plat amendment, because it's a filing within a larger subdivision, and although it does cross that threshold of 25% for that filing. Verification, the process is that the application is received and determined complete. Public notices are sent out. The planning commission and public hearing. The planning commission holds a public hearing and makes a recommendation, and it comes to you. On the next page, we have an overlay of the proposed plat amendment on the satellite image, so you can see where there's existing trails and where there's existing infrastructure that Kuchar Mountain Park. And those areas on parcel E and G that are parts of ski lanes, that's sort of what the focus is, keeping the public access while those parcels are being developed. So the applicant's intent is to build single-family homes on parcels C, D, and F. So those are the parcels in the north. They're 2 minutes in the center. And no immediate plans to develop other parcels. The request to pay 25% of the survey and property tax is kind of outside of the scope of a plat amendment. That's a sort of a tax, an add-on, so you can consider that separately. With the vacation of Yosemite and Teton Ridge on the parcels here, it's worth noting that Yosemite Lane, as it's been constructed, has not actually been built. So as it's platted and what exists on the ground are 2 separate situations. Currently, the track to access Denali Ridge Road, which is that road covering all the parcels on the south side of Kuchar Mountain Park Park 5 and 4 is access through an access easement through lots 24 and 25. And this is a declared access easement. And the applicant during this process, for purposes of this application, does not intend to make a change to that existing situation. There were a couple of letters written from neighbors. I think the owners of lots 24 and 25 did send letters. Those are attached, requesting that Yosemite Lane be constructed as platted. And for the immediate plans on this parcel, it's probably not immediately significant whether that happens or not, because there's not going to be development that would require use of that access easement at this plan at this time. But that potential for development is there. So it's I don't think any of the lots along Canada Ridge are being developed, so there's not significant traffic going through that easement. Although those property owners who hold it are wishing that it would be worth as much. So I'm going to skip down to the analysis portion. The proposed location of Yosemite Lane, as well as the location of Teton Ridge Drive, and the combination of the elimination of the recreational easements and L2 and L3 reduces the connectivity between lots in 5 and 4 and the ski area. Leaving the extension of Teton Ridge open to public access would provide more direct connections between 5 and 4 properties in the ski area. If closed to public access, the property owners along Denali Ridge and Teton Ridge would have to walk about 1/3 of a mile further to reach public lands at the ski resort. At this time, because there's no other development along Denali Ridge or Teton Ridge, closing Teton Ridge causes no immediate impact to access. The applicant proposes to use this property for the construction of 3 to 4 single-family homes, which is of lower intensity than what would be permitted on Map 425 for the area in 1999, which would have allowed up to 150 units for track B1, 80 units for track B2, and 30 units for track B3. However, the applicant proposes maintaining the right to increase the intensity of development on the parcels to a slightly lower level of intensity permitted in the original subdivision. These parcels were originally envisioned for a high-density development, likely as a location of a resort. Accordingly, the Planning Commission has recommended that this be considered a plat amendment rather than a subdivision, and the proposed rearrangement of lots comes with the proposal to slightly lower intensity of development. The shape of the proposed parcel D is unusual and has been designed to create a buffer between Forest Service property to lower insurance costs. The 50-foot wide strip heading north and east along Forest Service border represents about 35% of the total area of the parcel and would be unbuildable due to setbacks. National Forest access is still technically possible from the proposed cul-de-sac on Yosemite Lane, although I don't think there's any practical access there. I don't think there's a trail or any way to go from that cul-de-sac, proposed cul-de-sac on Yosemite Lane into Forest Service land. It's just a technical border. The planning commissioner last year on February 9th made a motion to consider the 8-parcel layout a plat amendment. That was unanimous. Made a motion to recommend approval of the plat amendment as proposed. That was unanimous. To the vacation of right-of-way, there was a motion to approve the request to vacate a portion of Teton Ridge and Yosemite Lane. That was passed unanimously. The tax exemptions, the Planning Commission made a motion to recommend approval of the request for property tax exemption on parcels E, G, and H. so long as they remain undeveloped in exchange for the proposed 50-foot perpetual easement on the east side of parcels E and G, and the 20-foot public access easement on the west side of parcel H, as well as the southern portions of E and G containing ski runs. Public access would be granted to the entire of these parcels as long as they remain undeveloped. That was passed, although not unanimously. The county contribution to surveying costs, the planning commission made a motion to approve the applicant's request for the county to pay 25% of the total survey costs, estimated between $6,000 and $12,000 in exchange for dedication of 50-foot public access easement and use of lots E, G, and H as public open spaces while they remain undeveloped. That was passed on a divided vote. And typically, these requests for survey costs aren't really part of plat amendment applications. So that could be dealt with here and now, or that could be dealt with at a later date. And there was a motion to recommend approval of the amended density survey. With that said, I'm at the end of my staff report here. And we'll stand for any questions, and the applicant is also here in the audience if you'd like to question him.
Questions, John, Carl?
I don't have any questions. I have comments.
Go ahead.
So I appreciate all of the work that the hotels have gone through to eliminate the deed restrictions on those public access parcels. So I support that piece of the application. For the tax exemption, to allow a tax exemption on undeveloped on land until it's developed is asking for a free ride. I absolutely oppose that. And county contributing to the surveying costs, I absolutely oppose that as well. I don't think that that's where we should be spending our money. So those are my comments.
Carl, any comment? Question?
Can I say something just to slightly correct technically what Sky had already said about the public access? At the beginning, he said E and G, the public access would be on its entirety, but that's not quite correct. At the end, the planning commission approved that the public access would be on the ski runs and the walk it out. Likewise, on lot H, the public access would be limited to that 20-foot easement to be able to get folks from walk it out to the national forest, and not the entirety of it as well.
Can you say your name?
Yeah, my name is John Hoteling. I represent JJH Property 3 LLC.
Yes, please.
Has that quiet title been recorded with the clerk and recorder yet?
Yes.
It's been recorded, and is it only the quiet title that's been recorded, not the complaint?
I think it's all been recorded. It all has the county numbers on it.
Okay. I hadn't seen that of record yet, but I wasn't here last week. I just wanted to make sure that it was recorded here so that it's of record. Because if it's just the quiet title that was recorded, it only states the legal description, whereas the complaint has everything on it saying what exactly the issues were. So if it's just the quiet title, probably needs to be re-recorded.
That's not the case.
Okay.
It's all been recorded. The public notice has been recorded. It's all been.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you.
And that is in the pattern as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
And I just might add on the property tax portion of it, I mean, that was kind of thrown out there, not as a free ride, Commissioner Delucia, but as a demonstration of partnership. Since that time, I understand that it has to be declared that kind of property by the state to begin with. In order for them to do it, it has to be deeded that it's non-developable. So that's kind of off the table already because perhaps someone down the road wants to develop it. But for right now, I'm interested in those 6 acres being used for public access, including skiing, on the runs, on Walk It Out, and through the easement over H.
Thank you.
So, commissioners, I recommend that you consider the land use portions, the plat amendment and the road vacation, and then deal with the survey, the easement, those things in another setting. I don't think you should mix those things in with the land use decision, just because they're not exactly the same.
Separate and distinct.
Yeah, so I would say that if you would encourage the applicant to bring those things forward separately, deal with them separately. At the moment, just deal with the plat amendment and vacation.
That would be items 1, 2, and 3 on page 113 of your packet.
I would add that they all go together, Mr. Young. They're not separate. I mean, this hasn't been done, it's been done over a long period of time so that it all works together. And it's all part of the same application.
I understand your point there. Well, from a development, I definitely understand that they all go together. I think from a land use and based on sort of how we operated our code in the past, putting them all together makes things more difficult for the applicant than less difficult. Our code is sort of simple. And from my perspective, those kind of things have been dealt with outside of the code and not inside the code. I understand what your point is there.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't understand what your explanation was. You're saying some of the law applies to certain portions of the application than other portions? Even though the planning commission did it all?
And that's fine. They're advised why they can advise the kind of commissioners however they choose to.
Yeah.
My advice is that a survey and paying part of a survey shouldn't be considered part of a land use application. It's a separate business matter that isn't quasi judicial.
Okay.
And an easement, while that sort of goes back and forth, I think considering that the easement isn't on here, might be better to consider that separate as well.
The easements are on there. They're marked on
They are on there?
yeah.
And the
I don't
planning
see
commission
that.
noted in item number 5 that the requests for county contributions for survey costs are not typically part of a plat amendment application.
Right.
So planning and zoning agree with that as well.
And the other portion being the sales, the public tax exemption, that's of course the table like you already said, but I want to make sure you don't include that in your motion. Whether to support it or not, or anything of that nature.
Okay. Do I have any other questions or comments?
What was that page that you said that?
113. And so if I'm understanding Carl correctly, I think that is a suggestion to approve 1, 2, and 3, but not to approve 4, 5, and 6. Is that correct?
I would say to take no action on them.
On 4, 5, and 6.
Yes.
Thank you.
I see the, where's my computer set to be weird today? I see the easement between G and H. I don't see it between on D. That's one. Yeah, I don't see it on H, excuse me.
What page you say?
113.
130.
Well, are you on the prime packet?
Oh.
The item
Yeah,
6B,
that is in there, and then that's a little
and then
one right
6B
there.
is in boy, and
And
then
then-
start,
and then
the
what
first
planning
top of the page starts with
commission
analysis. And
Ski run area as well. This is all of walking out right here, and that would be the public access, these are, as well as the ski runs, and then just that 20-foot strip across station, not all of it, just across there.
Thank you. So those easements are there, so ruling on the public access easements is something fine. No, this, once it's approved, it's going to be right.
It may be next week.
Maybe it's
You ready for
been.
motion?
Yeah, there's some discussion going on, John, that it is not recorded with the courts or with the clerk and recorder currently.
It might be done with the courts, but I don't see a record here. I don't see anything for JJH properties or your own name.
But the lawyer did it and sent the documents, and the documents that were provided as the county have had the codes on that they were a public.
It
record.
has the clerk and recorders
Let's see.
stuff at the top. I didn't see it in the packet. That's why I questioned it to begin with.
And you
Yeah.
check the clerk and recorder doesn't see
And I
it.
checked, yeah.
I see the court step on there, that blue, I don't see that.
That's just the court stuff. That's not the clerk and recorders.
Might be worth mentioning in a form of a motion.
Yeah, so I mean, that's just a condition. Yes.
I don't think there's any other discussion, John, about a comment or a motion.
Okay, I will, make an attempt at a motion here. I'd make a motion to approve the plat amendment for the, whatever this application number is.
It's 22-54.
Okay. I would, also include in that motion the vacation of the right of way. And, I would not, include tax exemptions, or the surveying costs or the, amended densities on the properties, with the condition that the, entire court ruling be recorded with the, county clerk, and that the plat be recorded within 90 days.
I will second that.
Second, and I just have comment or discussion. In approving the plat amendment, are you wanting to approve both motion 1 and 2, motion to consider the 8 parcel layout and plat amendment, and the motion to recommend approval of the plat amendment as proposed?
Yeah, I don't know that it matters to me about the 8 lot configuration, but the plat amendment, if that's how they lay it out, I'm good with that. So I would include 1 and 2 in that.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm one of the other, you guys you're approving the parcel layout, and that's what's in front of you. The other iterations are not, but they were before the planning commission. That's why those motions are broken out.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we can call for the vote.
Chairman Militia,
Yes, sorry.
Commissioner Scruder,
Yes.
Commissioner Good.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
So thank you, John. They'll get a letter from the lady's office confirming everything and work through the other issues.
And you heard that it needed to be filed within 90 days?
Yeah.
Yeah, Bill can handle that. It's a great handle that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, moving right along to land use 24-008, which is the Mace Campground.
Okay, so with this application, Amos Mace and his representative Sky Coleman requests the following. They want a conditional use permit pursuant to land use section 106 to establish a permanent tinning RV campground, as well as an additional 10 sites for tent and car and or van camping on his property. The property is addressed at 8055 County Road 570. And let's see. With the 10 RV hookups, they want to equip them with electric and water. And then the other 10 sites with no hookups. They will have a separate structure for bathrooms, showers, and a common kitchen area for guests. The project will create one seasonal job employing an on-site manager who will occupy a 1,200 square foot dwelling to be constructed as part of this project, with the potential for an attached gallery space to display CS with project. It's going to be situated on roughly 3.4 acres in the northeast portion of a 38.27 acre parcel. The campground will be located in an open field at the edge of the cottonwood forest that forms part of the riparian area along the Huerfano River. The campground will be marked to visitors who are coming to the area to visit the wolf sanctuary and or hike over Mosca Pass. Currently, the wolf sanctuary is unable to accommodate campers, which discourages many people from visiting the site. Providing a campground for those who want to experience the wolves will help to support that project and generally bring more tourism to the Gardner area. The second activity that will be promoted is for groups who want to hike the Mosca Pass. The operator will arrange for a shuttle to drop off and or pick up visitors on either side of the pass, which can include visits to the sand dunes or hot springs, and then bring visitors back to Huerfano County to camp. For the property history, the main residence on the adjacent property owned by the applicant was built between 1886 and 1892 by the Sharp family. The family raised cattle and ran a trading post where he traded tobacco, clothing in the valley on what was known as Buzzard Roost Ranch. The property has been owned by the Mace family since 1976, when Stuart Mace came from Aspen and settled on the site to start the nonprofit Macalite Farm School, intended to keep alive and teach organic farming techniques. The school lasted for about 15 years. While in operation, there are often 60 to 70 people on site, working, learning, and visiting the site. The applicant's residence adjacent to this parcel was the former school building built as an extension onto the original Sharp residence. The family established Macalite Inc., which was later reestablished in the late 90s as a wood mill that has grown into a successful business that supplies high-end milk woods to furniture makers and carpenters. The mill employs between 8 to 10 people and is a significant economic activity in the area. Making CS woods was a significant, consistent source of employment in this part of the county since 1976. Wheat was once grown on the site before the topsoil blew away during the Dust Bowl in the 1930s. The topsoil has never recovered, and still to this day, the soil will not support such crops. There are no remnants of the former grist mill on the site. Potential impacts and mitigation. Within a quarter mile of the proposed campground along County Road 570, there are 7 properties that border on the road, 3 of which contain dwellings. The closest neighbors to this project, Manuel and Sarah Garcia, have a home that is about 330 feet from the perimeter of the project, between the Garcia residence and the proposed campsites and buildings.
I have to take train breaks.
There's a thick grove of cottonwoods and a significant elevation change in the winter when there are no leaves on the trees. The Garcia residence is not visible from the proposed campsites. Additionally, there is a vertical elevation difference of about 30 feet between the Garcia residence and the proposed campground, with the campground on the high plain above the river valley. The elevation difference along with the cottonwood forest will help reduce the amount of sound traveling from the campsite to the Garcia property. They anticipate that the impact of noise, light, or other potential nuisances to adjacent properties will be minimal. To the north and east, the distance to the nearest neighbors is nearly or slightly more than a quarter mile. And the west is the home where the applicant lives and the CS Woods Mill. To the south and southeast are a number of homes, including the Garcia residence as the closest residence, but the separation between these and the proposed campsite by a thick ribbon of cottonwoods as well as distance from the project should make any impacts marginal. To help residents in the county live accordingly to the tradition of rugged individualism, Huerfano County has also included the Code of the West in its comprehensive plan, which states the surrounding properties will probably not remain as they are indefinitely. The view from your property may change. The Code of the West explicitly states that adjoining agricultural uses may be expected to disturb the peace and quiet, while a campsite is not an agricultural use. The occasional disturbance that might arise might be analogous to that of occasional disturbances caused by agricultural activities. Each campsite will be equipped with water and electrical hookups. Electrical hookups will mitigate the need for RVs to run generators. The primitive campsites will be primitive campsites reserved for tent and van camping and would not permit the use of generators. The type of tourism this campground intends to support will be for visitors hiking Mosca Pass and visiting the Wolf Sanctuary. It is anticipated that the average length of stay will be 2 nights. To help mitigate impacts on the surrounding area, the campground will implement the following rules. Lights out after 10 p.m. to be able to appreciate the dark skies. Outdoor artificial lights must be turned off by 10 p.m. Noise curfew. No music or noise audible across campground permitted after dark. On-site attendant will monitor noise and ensure that loud parties or late night noise does not disturb the neighborhood. No generators. RVs will be prohibited from running generators on site. Electrical hookups will provide to mitigate the need to run generators. No open campfires at individual campsites. A communal fire pit will be constructed, the common area where fires may be allowed when conditions allow. Pets, all dogs must be on leash at all times. Septic and water use. Leach fields must be at least 10 feet from the property line. 5 CCR 1002-43 delegates to local health departments the authority to regulate septic systems over 2,000 gallons per day. In table 6-2, it outlines the average use in gallons per day for different types of uses. Campsites or travel trailer park without individual water and sewage hookup per unit use an estimated 50 gallons per day. A travel trailer park with individual water and sewage hookup per unit should be calculated at 100 gallons a day. Since the site will have water hookups, but the dump station will not be connected to the septic system and will instead be a separate vault system that will be emptied as needed. A campsite with communal showers, toilets, and kitchen for 10 campsites, plus a single permanent residence calculated at 75 gallons per day, should be expected to produce a flow of up to 575 gallons per day through the septic system. A shower is calculated at 14.5 gallons per day, and a toilet is 24.8 gallons per day. Traffic, it is anticipated that guests will stay an average of 2 nights. If the campground is 70% full through the summer, which will generate 10 to 15 trips per day. Dump station. While campers will have access to facilities that should minimize the need to dump their septic tanks, a septic vault will also be constructed so the RVs can dump there for a fee. There will be a service offered to those who camp at the site as well as to the community at large. Currently, there are no other options in the area for campers to dump their waste, and providing this service will help to reduce illegal dumping to encourage RV tourism in the area. Drainage. The site is relatively flat with a slight slope toward the northeast in the northeast corner of the property. There are some natural ponding areas where a surface flow could be caught after a storm. USGS defines the soil type on the site as willowbend, gravelly, sand, loam, 3 to 8% slopes. The soil is comprised of a cobbly, gravelly alluvium and is well drained. The project will not create any additional runoff to the property. Bulk water station. Independently from the campground proposal, the applicant holds the water rights to dispense blank acre feet per water. I don't know why that's blank. Included on the site plan is a plan to install a bulk water station. Many people in the area depend on bulk water for residential uses, and offering an additional station will take some pressure off the Gardner Station and offer a valuable service to the community. The water rights to this are attached to the Huerfano County Conservancy District Notice of Inclusion in the Tier 1 Augmentation Program. We received this application on February 19th. It was considered complete on April 10th. It was seen by the Planning Commission on April 25th. There were letters sent out to 15 referral agencies. If you need to see their comments, they start on page 221. And that expresses their concerns. And then we also received, and I apologize, in the packet somehow got missed. We did get a letter from a neighbor. If you want to see it, I've got copies here. Okay. John, I'll text you. I can text it to him. I'm gonna give it to him.
Yeah.
John, I'll text you this letter.
Thank you.
And I also apologize. It says that this is a public hearing. It is not a public hearing. It does say it on your packet. The public hearing was held on April 25th. Do you need a copy?
That's the original.
Yeah. I don't know how we missed it, that we did. Give me a minute to read that. And then after we held the public hearing, we did receive 2 more comments that are included in your packets on page, starting on page 235 to 36. So out of the 15 referral agencies, we received comments back from the Division of Water Resources, Parks and Wildlife, the Huerfano County Health Department, the Spanish Beach Regional Health Center, the Water Commissioner, Forest Service, Upper Huerfano Soil Conservation District, and Huerfano County Water Conservancy District. So on April 25th, the Huerfano County Planning Commission voted unanimously to recommend to the Huerfano County Board of County Commissioners for approval of the Macalite Mace Campground with the following conditions. 1, a groundwater permit authorizing commercial uses used by the Colorado Division of Water Resources received to the Colorado Division of Water Resources Division 2 office by emailed and to operate with the Huerfano County Water Conservancy District's Regional Augmentation Plan operating under case number 13W3062 received to the Colorado Division of Water Resources Division 2 office by email. To follow all requirements set forth by the Huerfano Los Animas Huerfano County Health Department, which includes 1, the bulk water station that will serve water to the public, and also the water provided for the campers must meet the requirements of the Colorado Department of Health and Environment Regulation WQCD Regulation 11. The septic for this commercial use must be designed by a registered professional engineer as required in Regulation 43. The total volume of the sewage should exceed 2,000 gallons per day. It shall be under the jurisdiction of the Colorado Department of Health and Environment and Regulation 22. Number 3, the dump station must be designed and constructed such that it has adequate volume, 2,000 gallons or more, and is also equipped with a visible and audible alarm. There should be a written agreement between facility and licensed wastewater pumping company to assure that pumping will be conducted on a routine basis. Although not mentioned in the narrative is food, if food is prepared or dispensed to the patrons, restaurant and or snack bar or grocery store, any retail food establishment, the jurisdiction falls under the authority of the Los Animas Huerfano County's Health Department, and the appropriate paperwork, licensing, and inspections shall be required. These requirements are the minimum required for this type. If proposal, there may be more as the project unfolds. Have the Huerfano County Noxious Weed Manager evaluate the proposed campsite and make any recommendations as needed. Any questions?
John, go. Go.
So in the, when you started that out, Sherry, it had a blank in the number and the amount of water that would be provided. Do you have an update on that?
I'm going to have Sky elaborate on that.
John and commissioners, the amount of water is in the, it's in your packet here, in the, let me try and find it. So the notice of inclusion, I'm not sure if we have the same page numbers, but it starts, I think, on page 201 of the packet. And it allows for oh, where is it? Amos, do you know that right off the top of your head?
1 acre foot of total completions.
It's
Between the whole station and some to use the
It's 1 acre foot of total completions.
My question is along those lines as well. Will this be available to members of the public or only people going to the campsite, or what is the intention of that?
Well, there's two uses of the water. One is for the campsite itself to have hookups, have some communal showers or communal kitchen areas, and you serve a on-site residence for a manager. And then the other one would be for the fill station, which would be agricultural water. So it wouldn't be treated, it would be untreated agricultural water for road projects or things. And that would be similar to the Gardner GPID station.
So
Please.
this isn't necessarily our issue to adjudicate here, but part of what the other department is saying is that if you're going to do a bulk water station, the water does have to be treated.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I don't have any.
Do you have a timeline on the, to be able to remedy the idea of your augmentation and, how much you're gonna need on that? When that, because of the,
That's in the hands of the Division of Water Resources right now. So the notice of inclusion establishes the right to the water, but that right isn't complete or secured until a commercial well has been dug. And so really the order of operations wasn't clear at the time, you know, which needed to happen first. We thought, well, we want to get the permission to have, you know, your land use permission before you go and dig your well. But the Water Division of Water Resources kind of wanted it the other way around, that you want your well before everything, before they would recommend approval. And so just prior to the planning commission meeting, the applicant did submit a commercial well application, and I believe that is pending. So that is with the Division of Water Resources, and once that, assuming that that's approved, then they'll amend their letter regarding the project.
yeah, because I would say that we wait on this until that the water issue is taken care of, to have an idea of what is available.
Well, what's available is described in the notice of inclusion, but just the commercial well creates the access. It kind of completes checks all your boxes.
Because even on the divisions, it says that they do not, they recommend disapproval of the application until it's remedied, to take care of that. So
Right, you know, so the one condition was that, they need their commercial well permit. So that's in the process right now. And so, you know, you could approved, or you can approve it on condition of a new letter from the DWR.
But it's in your commission actions from the planning and zoning.
So Carl, if I can address.
Yeah, if you come up and state your name and then speak to the microphone so they can hear you online.
Hello, my name's Amos Mace. I'm the applicant in this case, and Scott has been working with me on this project. In my own consideration of how the game plan should go here, I figured that drilling a commercial well before I had a conditional use permit from the county would be a little bit of an overstep on my part, and that before I actually drilled the commercial well portion of it, then I should have a conditional use permit, which allowed me to do the commercial activity for which the well would be drilled. Before you go in for a commercial well permit, you have to establish legal access to the water. So I went through the Huerfano County Water Conservancy District augmentation process, and I actually got the same augmentation water that the county uses to distribute water in GPID. So my legal right to the water is the same legal right to the water that the county has. I just actually didn't drill the well. Since it became apparent that drilling the actual well was also part of establishing my legal right to water, I put in the application with the state engineer to drill the well the week before the public hearing with the Land Use Commission. So it's really just a matter of process and kind of the chicken and the egg type thing. There is no reason why the division engineer would reject my commercial well application permit. So I'm just going to say the legal right to the water has been established through the notice of inclusion. It's just the ability to access water at the site that the division is concerned with. And considering I already have a residential well about 100 feet away from where this commercial well will be drilled, I have no doubt of the well's ability to access the water that legally will be depleted from it. So that's kind of the division engineer. I said, why do you guys do this? And he said, well, how can you prove to me you're going to have water at your well? And I was like, okay, I get you there. But I do know at this well site, we will have access to water.
And the water commissioner didn't have any objections.
Water commissioner didn't have any objections. It's the same augmentation process and the same augmentation plan that the county uses to distribute water at GPID.
Thank you. Any additional questions?
One thing on the public comment, I can't tell you how many calls I've gotten concerned about this project. And it seems to me that we'll have to have a little bit more on that public comment basis to be able to have people voice their concerns and or agreements with the project.
My number is available, and I've been willing to talk to anybody who's been actually willing to call me and have a discussion about this. Most of the time in my community, you don't find out about people's comments until it becomes a public meeting setting. So anybody that's actually talked to me about this, I've had conversations with them, and I'm unaware of a lot of the public comment that you're aware of until I'm also in this room. A lot of the comment has to do with how close it is to my neighbor. And I just have to say that my neighbor lives right up on the corner of the property, in which his front yard, he has two fences in his front yard that is the property boundary. So I can't help the fact that he lives right on the property boundary. My development is actually going to be set back a little bit further from the actual property boundary than his house and his garage. So I'm kind of feeling like if he has the right to use right up to the edge, I kind of step back a little bit, and I should have the right to use that too, right?
And you did have a public hearing with public comment?
There was a public hearing and there was public comment.
In addition to all the letters that were submitted?
Yep.
What I understood, there wasn't quite as much of a notification for that public hearing. That was not restricted, but it wasn't very complete.
So we did send out letters to the neighbors, before 10 days of the hearing. It was more than that. We did put up a humongous sign on the area saying when the public hearing was, and it was put in the paper.
And I ensured that that sign was always up. There was a couple times where people flipped it around and turned its back so that it just looked like a piece of cardboard, and there was a piece of plywood, and there was twice where it blew down. But for those 14 days, I made a morning routine of going down and making sure that the sign was visible and posted where they put it. I also have two neighbors that did not actually write letters to you guys and did come talk to me personally. And I was able to resolve their issues in a personal conversation.
Any further questions, Carl?
Would you be opposed to having a more formal public comment and prior to having that?
I feel like I've gone through the process that is outlined by the county that I need to go through in order to get this permit.
Yeah.
However, I also understand that this is a board of county commissioners that gets to make these decisions. I will say that if this is turned down, what I am prepared to do is to come back around through this process with a larger proposal. This was my small proposal. This is going to be very, very difficult to ever have any financial recovery off of something this size. The amount of time and energy that has already been put into this including Sky's time, will basically mean that I never financially recover what I've put into this project. So what I'm prepared to do is to come back with something that is larger and does pencil better. This doesn't pencil that great. I'll be honest with you. 10 campsites for all this doesn't pencil great.
So when you say come back with a larger production or scale of what you want to do, or
what I would
So,
propose on
more
doing on
detail.
the site, what I would propose doing on the site, I would come back with something more like 60 campsites.
is that your future goal to have?
No, my
expect?
future, so I'll be honest with you, I grew up on a farm where we had a bunch of trailers, and my entire livelihood, I had employees that worked for us at the ranch and everything else that could come and go from housing on the property. And that housing was not something that would currently be permitted by the county. I couldn't have people living in employee housing that we had people living in when I was a kid, all shop employees and stuff like that. So part of this is to serve a public need to have affordable lodging in the area. And part of this is also to serve the ability for me to have people come and stay for 2 weeks, not in my house, right? But in their RV on the property and work for me on the farm, work for me in the wood storage, and be a gardener. One of the reasons that Gardner was what it was when I was a child is because there was an entire generation of hippies that just showed up and lived on the land. And that generation of people that just showed up and lived in Gardner outside of what would be considered permittable housing these days brought a richness to our community that this Huerfano County kind of values to this day. Was the value that those people brought. And these days you can't come to Gardner and show up and live on the land for a couple of years while you establish yourself. So this is me kind of trying to, on our own ranch, make that a possibility again. I'd love to see this happen down in Gardner. I'll be dead honest with you. For the last couple of years, I've been working on projects and things like that that I thought would lead to this type of development happening down closer to Gardner or in the town of Gardner or around with different things. And then after years of working on projects like this, it became pretty apparent to me that unless I can do it on my own property, I shouldn't expect anybody else to be able to do it anywhere else in the area. And I figured I needed to just undertake trying to do this on the place that I own. I'm kind of boss. See what it takes. And this is part of what it takes.
Anything else? John?
Well, I don't really have any questions. It's a comment, Amos, that kind of sounded like a veiled threat. If this doesn't get passed, you're going to come back with a bigger application.
Oh, that's not veiled at all. I was very clear about that.
Well, it's not very likely that a bigger one would pass either. So I understand the neighbors' concerns. One thing that I would ask, would you consider some additional sound and visual mitigation? More trees or shrubs or something in there to.
I need that to be done on site on the actual location, because until you're actually at the location, you really don't understand how the geologic boundary in between my neighbor and where I'm doing this is a bank that falls off, and it would be equivalent to building like a 30 or 40 foot high earthen berm. So there is a rather distinct boundary already in existence. So to further require me to do more than what Mother Nature has already provided might be just a little counterintuitive in a way. So I would be open to that discussion, but it would need to happen at the location.
Second question was, one of the comments was that this location on your property, is there a better location for this?
I'll be honest with you, one of the reasons I've chosen this location is because it's proximity to the county road and its proximity to the existing San Isabel electric lines. And then, this is also the location on the property that historically was a stage stop and was a trading post and had a grist mill and was also platted as a town site, the second earliest town site platted in the state was down on this part of the property. This is the part of the property that has experienced more usage over the whole history of Huerfano County than almost any other place on my property, almost any other place in the county. The last 15 years since the spring, since we had to get rid of the spring, this has become a quiet place, but for the previous 130 years, you know, this has been a really busy part of the county. One of the reasons why the people who sold their property to my current next door neighbor sold their property was because of how busy this area was. And my next door neighbor, when he bought the location, he knew how much history there was, and he knew the people who were selling it to him were selling it because one of the reasons it wasn't a quiet spot. So I wouldn't move it. Honestly, for a lot of people, when they drive all the way out to Gardner and they start driving down a dirt road and they're looking for their campground and then they turn into a piece of property, they kind of want that campground to be kind of close right there. And I've talked to a lot of people, and a lot of people have told me that driving all the way out that county road and down that dirt road and everything, you already feel like you're in the middle of nowhere. So then driving over a couple of cattle guards and through a couple of gates into the backwoods of my property would make people a little uncomfortable. And I actually get that. Most of the people that'll be coming don't hunt. They're not rural people. They'll be urban people who will already be out of their element. Oh, and I have an uncle that lives literally 200 feet away from this. So the closest residence to this is actually going to be one of my uncles in his house. So it's a residence on this property, so it's not a neighbor, but the closest residence will actually be my uncle.
Any further questions?
Just, Sherry, could you, so I don't have to try to find it real quick, could you go over what the planning commission's recommendations were again, please?
On page 181, 6C.
Yep, on page 181, John. They voted unanimously to recommend a groundwater permit authorizing commercial uses used by the Colorado Division Water Resources received to the Colorado Division of Water Resources Division 2 office by email, and documentation that said commercial use permit, once issued, has been included and able to operate with Huerfano County Water Conservancy District's Regional Augmentation Plan operating under case 13W3062, received to the Division of Water Resources Division 2 office by email. That was the conditions that was listed in the mail from the Division 2 Water Resources. Then the next is from the Health Department. What they had put in, they like to see that the bulk station that will serve water to the public and also water provided for campers must meet the requirements of the Colorado Department of Public Health Regulation WQCD Regulation 11. The septic for this commercial use must be designed by a registered professional engineer as required in Regulation 43. If the total volume of the sewage should exceed 2,000 gallons per day, it shall be under the jurisdiction of the Colorado Department of Health and Regulation 22. 3, the dump station must be designed and constructed such that it has adequate volume, 2,000 gallons or more, and it is also equipped with a visible and audible alarm. There should be a written agreement between facility and a licensed wastewater pumping company to assure that pumping will be conducted on a routine basis Although not mentioned in the narrative, if food is prepared or dispensed to the patrons, any kind of retail food establishment, the jurisdiction falls under the authority of the Los Alamos, Huerfano County's Health Department, and the appropriate paperwork, licensing, and inspections shall be required. Next page. These requirements are the minimum required for this type of proposal. There may be more as the project unfolds. And then the recommendation from the Planning Commission as well said, have the Huerfano County noxious weed manager evaluate the proposed campsite and make any recommendations if needed.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then I had a personal promise to Carl to talk to St. Paul about this. I did. I agreed to that. I don't want it.
There's no further questions. I'd entertain a motion.
Carl, you can make a motion?
Well, I'd kind of be inclined to say continuation, make a motion for continuation, just to get a little bit more information. There's a lot going on here, to just answer a couple more of the questions and make sure of the water issues and dust abatement and things like that for your, would be a thought.
All right, so to that end, I would make a motion to continue this and allow for the opportunity for a public hearing to hear any other information or clarification on any other relevant issue for this application.
We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Commissioners, the standard notice is 10 days. So we can renotice it as a public hearing per the land use code. Considering the deadlines for the paper, I believe that the earliest we could have that public hearing would be June 11th.
So I have one concern about this, is that I've paid the county one conditional use permit fee that covered the county's cost of the public hearing and covered the county's cost of notice to the public and covered the county's cost of coming out and putting up the sign. If the county decides to go through another public hearing and notice of the public, would that cost be borne by the county, or would the county expect me to pay another public hearing conditional use permit fee? I believe it was $453.
So may I? The only thing that I would foresee if the commissioners want him to pay for it would be the actual notice in the paper, which is around $20.
We have to redo the signs.
We just take it out there. We print the sign in the clerk and recorder's office, and then we put the sign on there and take it out there.
I guess from my thought, public hearing having already been held, I would not put this on the applicant to pay for. But if you all want to give me direction there.
It'd be fun for us to pay the paper for that.
I think we're asking for this, this isn't a requirement, but the county's asking for it. I would submit that the county should probably bear the cost. However, I do know Amos is rich.
So my question being, is this something that the county is going to immediately undertake? And are you initiating a whole nother round of public hearing to start the 14-day notification period now? Or what's the county's timeline and what obligations does the county have in going through another public hearing process with me?
So the public hearing process in the land use code, and I'm not looking at right now, so I might have to make some tweaks to this. We have to notice the neighbors for public hearing, as we post it on the property, we put it in the paper. We can also put it on the website. That's something we typically do as well, so that people can find the application easily and be able to review it. The process, from my remembrance, is 10 days in the paper. So if we started now, the deadline for the paper for this week is already passed. That was yesterday. So I'm going to put in the paper next week. So 10 days there would be what, the 26th.
I have a question. Are we gonna resend out letters to the referral agencies too, or just the neighbors? Okay.
Just neighbors. When people on the 23rd, excuse me, 10 days, hence is the 2nd. It is my general preference and policy that the commissioners only hold these hearings at a regular meeting of the Board of County Commissioners. It's just, I think, more reliable for people to plan for it. So I would set the hearing date for June 11th.
I won't be here.
Can you attend via Google?
Probably won't be able to attend via Google.
We
Only
can,
being a deckhand on the vote.
But Sky can be here.
Sky could be here.
I guess I have a question for John and Carl. You know, is there a reason to redo this process, or sending the same letter to the same neighbors, the same publication? Are we expecting a different result?
And that's my question, is that regardless, so if we're going to go into a whole nother process here, is there any assurance to me that at the end of another public hearing process, that another public hearing process won't start again? Like, do I have any assurance that there will be some, like, we'll do this again and that will be it? Because
I don't foresee this being a continuation.
well, there's still a lot of
Over and
people
over.
in Gardner that haven't heard about this. And if we do another, I can guarantee you we'll have a whole nother wave of people that are like, okay, we've never heard about this, so they're hearing about it for the first time. And the second public, I anticipate that another public hearing process will start another public conversation, and it will start to draw off as things do in Gardner.
so how this process works, typically speaking, and this is how most attorneys and how we've always operated, we recommend for public agencies in Colorado. You have a hearing, and the meeting, once the hearing closes, you make a decision.
It's kind of what I thought we did.
Well, you did on the planning commission level. So the commissioners decide to have another hearing. They would open the hearing, have the hearing, close it, make a decision. There's a chance that, say, they might continue the hearing if they ask you for information, they want to find out something more. I have never seen that happen. I think it's unlikely because you have, I think, a fairly thorough application, but that could happen.
So
Generally speaking, once that one hearing is over with, once that public comment section again is over with, that is generally not reopened even for a continuation.
So in this case, this new public comment period would not be a public comment period on a land use hearing. This public comment period would be a public comment period on a Board of County Commissioners public hearing. And this public hearing would take place with the commissioners, not the land use board?
Correct. It'd be with the Board of County Commissioners, not the land use board.
Okay.
And it is governed by the land use code. So it is a land use hearing, but it's not, the commissioners aren't sending this back to the planning commission. They just want to have a public hearing before they make their decision.
Right. They have that right.
Okay. So, any other questions, comments, concerns? Their motion?
So John, is that your motion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Motion.
To have, to just have a public hearing as quickly as possible. Just to give everybody the second opportunity, because you're absolutely right. In Gardner, I didn't hear about it. I think we should have another public hearing. So
Yeah.
theoretically, it could go on and on and on, but this, I think, is the last one, just so that we can get the information to make an informed decision, not to suffer paralysis from analysis.
And if you want to work with me on a date that you can be here for, we can work on that. But I don't want to string it out further. If we can avoid it.
Okay. We'll talk about dates.
So I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote.
Chairman Blucher,
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier,
Yes.
Commissioner Deb,
No.
motion passes.
Okay.
Thank you, Amos.
We'll be seeing each other again soon, guys.
Yes, very well.
This one isn't gonna go away.
Moving on to land use 20-027, vacate County Road 565.
So with this application, Fred Rodriguez, on behalf of the Rodriguez Family Trust, requests the vacation of County Road 565, which runs from County Road 572 to County Road 562 in the northwest corner of the county. The road runs through 3 parcels owned by the Rodriguez Family Trust, Costco Ranch LLC, and Soledad 3 LLC. So, let's see. So letters were sent to the referral agencies and to the neighbors. And we did get 3 letters back, or 4 letters back from the agencies. We got 2 letters back from the Colorado Parks and Wildlife, who had no problems with the vacation. We got 1 back from the Los Alamos Huerfano County's Health Department with no problems with the vacation. And 1 from Upper Huerfano Fire Protection District that did have concerns with the vacation. So on April 11th, the Planning Commission voted unanimously to recommend to the Huerfano County Board of County Commissioners the approval to vacate County Road 565 with the condition that Costgrove Ranch and emergency personnel have access. The applicant is here. Do we have any questions?
No questions from Carl, no questions from me. John, you have any questions?
I don't have any questions. So my observations I can share.
Sure.
I understand, absolutely understand the Rodriguez desire to stop public access through this. I'm not in favor of abandoning this road, or what do you call it? Vacating the road. However, I would not be opposed to allowing this road to be gated and locked, take it off the SUTF report, and just have it available for the water commissioner, emergency services, and those that need access to that property.
And also, I think the applicant wanted to speak. Yeah. Make sure you state your name.
Yes, my name is Fred Rodriguez. I represent the Rodriguez Family Trust and also Soledad 3. Soledad 3 translates to solitude. And the 3 means it's 2 sisters and a brother that own Soledad 3. Okay. Before I start my impact statement, if I may, Corey Gomez brought up an interesting point that she said that they were not opposing the vacation of 565, but yet they want an easement from the Costco Ranch into our ranch. I would like to know if the landowner, Costco Ranch, submitted a certified letter requesting an easement to the county commissioners. Okay, my impact statement is, first of all, I want to take this opportunity to thank the Board of County Commissioners to hear our request. There is not a lot of 100-plus-year-old family ranches left. Having County Road 565 continued road to be a public road has been a great negative impact to our families. Soledad 3 and the Rodriguez Family Trust are all first cousins. Their dad and my dad were brothers. There's a clear case where the big guys are picking on the little guys. The Costco Ranch has thousands and thousands of acres. Rodriguez Family Trust has 82 acres. And Soledad 3 has 120 acres, plus or minus. The Costco Ranch has 100% access to all the property from their own property. County Road 562 and 2 ranch roads. You can see it in pictures 5 and 6. For us, it's a preservation of private property. For the Costco Ranch, it's a matter of convenience. Thank you.
Questions, Carl, John?
No, I said my piece. And thank you, Fred, for bringing this. I do appreciate what happens when you have a vacant piece of property and people think that, well, there's nobody here. I can just go do whatever I want in it because there's no gate, no nothing to keep people out. So I appreciate your position.
Carl?
I guess that let me ask that question, Fred. Would that be okay with you if it was gated and not vacated?
Not at this point in time, no, because if you look at the pictures, and especially picture 25.
Yes, I knew I approached this. Because I don't know.
Sure. Do you want to finish up with your comment on
Yes.
picture 25 real quick? Go ahead.
Yeah. Picture 25 is my mom and dad's bedroom. If you notice my dad's wheelchair there and my mom's oxygen tank, they have suffered by this county road for years. It's only 17 feet, 9 inches from the bedroom to the end of the county road there. Okay. And then the pictures of how they have ransacked our house. You know, at this point in time, we just want the road closed. The beginning of the road and the end of the road is owned by the same family. And like I say, the Costco Ranch is in the middle, and they have 100% access to their own land, from their own land. So there's no reason why to give up any part of it.
John, do you have a copy of this book and pictures, or do you want me to send you some photos?
No, I have it. Caleb.
I sent 3 copies to the commissioners and went to Mr. Young.
Thank you. Anything else for Mr. Rodriguez before we allow the Costco to speak?
Yes, in case, oh, and one quick one on page 19. This happened within the last 6 months. They shot a hole through the middle of our television. And this was the last 6 months that happened. I do not have a problem with that, as long as if I need to rebuttal, I would like to have that opportunity.
Sure. You can just have a seat if you'd like.
Okay.
And Corey Gomez, and we would like to go ahead and plan, we're representing the Costco branch. We are in agreement to go ahead and close the road. And we discussed, we don't really need an easement from the Rodriguez's to go back and forth through there. We do have concerns about keeping it a public road as far as emergency personnel, because we don't intend to maintain that middle piece of the road. It doesn't benefit the ranch. It would be an additional cost to the ranch to maintain a road that we wouldn't be using or no one would be using. But we would like to we will sign off on needing an easement through there, and we would represent to close the road also. So we've got both sides, Rodriguez's and Costco branch, in agreement. So
Thank you.
let you know. Sure.
The first, when I started this process, it was in September the 30th of 2020. When I started this process, and then the COVID came on and all this stuff. What I would request for the Board of County Commissioners to do is vote on this today, up or down. Okay, so we know where we're at, and we could start a new future in our ranch. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion if you're ready.
I think Carly has a comment.
No, I was just asking if anybody had anyone.
Oh.
Go ahead, John.
I would make a motion to approve the vacation of County Road 565 with the condition that emergency personnel have access should they need it, and the water commissioner also have access to get to that head gate to read that.
I would second that. Oh,
We have a motion in a second. Looks like we have some discussion. Any discussion? So just to be clear, the Planning Commission on April 11th, 2024, voted unanimously to recommend Wilson County Board of County Commissioners approve the vacate County Road 565 with the condition that the Costco branch and emergency personnel have access. So John, your motion is the same with the exception of the Costco branch. And you want to add in there the water commissioner
I want to add the water commissioner into that.
and take
It
Costco.
would be a long walk.
Will you say that again?
That would be a long walk for the water commissioner, and she was not totally aware of what was happening.
Sure. But are you taking the neighbor's access out or leaving it in?
It doesn't matter to me whether Costco's have access through there or not, because they don't care. It sounds like they've got access wherever. So I don't have a problem not including the Costco's.
Okay.
correct.
We will not include. I have a motion, second. Any further discussion?
Can you repeat the motion again, please?
Sure.
A motion to vacate County Road 565 with the exception that emergency personnel and the water commissioner have access.
Yes.
Looks like the owners are all in agreement, getting lots of head nods. So any other discussion? Okay, let's go ahead and call for the vote.
Chairman Glusher,
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier,
Yes.
Commissioner Jeff,
Yes.
motion passed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Only took 4 years.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, that's a good deal for government.
All right. Let's move to action items.
All right, Commissioners, first to have a proclamation number 24-04, declaring May 2024 Wildfire Awareness Month.
You need a motion to. That'd be-
You're next, that's.
Yeah, okay, all right. Make that motion.
Thank you all. Carl makes the motion.
Yeah.
Second.
Second. Motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote.
Chairman Wilson,
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier,
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn,
Yes.
motion passes. You guys been taking around 5 minutes. It's been a-
Yes,
That actually.
What's your, yeah,
let's go ahead and take a
Yes, please.
5-minute recess. It is 1:21, so we will reconvene at 1:26. I don't need a motion for recess?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
a little farther.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh.
It's. Gotta build up my tolerance. And then the
Going around.
first day I come
My
back.
head, you know, it's like.
Should we leave the recording?
Oh, it's in, I would have-
Water.
We got water, we're good, thank you.
Okay.
Use cushions on these pews.
Yeah.
Pew, pew.
I'm ready to call them pews, because when I first came in this room, I thought,
I know, that's.
If they have cushions on it, you're gonna find us taking naps.
I bet.
So like, bring along here, I'm right, remember, it's a property. Right again. They're there. I have one book that she needs like that. That was in the documents of West Signature. So I have to run this stuff on right. Your laptop. So I have to run it out.
sounds good.
This is gonna be a great day. It's already Tuesday, already.
It's a Monday, Tuesday though.
No, it's already Tuesday, we're moving on.
Don't you watch it back then?
Like, come on.
That's what everyone's saying.
I do it.
So I still have the link.
Oh, okay. Then I check.
It was.
Oh, yeah, okay. Okay. I know that's a bit like kind of slowly. So then
I'm afraid though, because every time you cough, it's like, okay, I need water.
Just the two.
Yeah, that's like, usually I don't drink anything, but because I have like whatever nasty junkies going on, so I mouth is, you know, coming out from all the decongested stuff. So I still was like. Maybe six, Erica, maybe
Like I
six.
do the same thing, like I really want one every other, but. Feeling all better? Kim,
Was that?
you feeling all better?
Oh my God, I feel so much better.
Good.
And did Carl tell you that update?
No.
So out of the 7 nodules that I have, 2 are completely gone with those treatments I've been taking. And the big one has shrunk enough that I didn't have to continue the treatments.
Yay.
It's like, thank you, Lord, because they were making me so sick.
Oh, good.
So,
Congratulations.
yeah, so I don't have to go back for another CAT scan until June.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm very, very, very happy.
And baby.
Good. I think that because I've had this, I just video call every day. I'm like,
Is all toxin?
yeah, they're like, you be in the No, they're having the time of their life.
Oh,
man. Tim is just beside himself. He's like, he goes, Mom, I get it now. I get it. She's like, I knew you would. It's like, I just never knew I could love somebody so much. And, you know, he says, he's like, oh, I love the babies, but I
He just did it. I'm not sure Nicole gets him more than time to just beat him. It's just like. Yeah. So that's been exciting, like I said, then all this and the graduations and everything, so it's so crazy. I know. Crazy. Mom graduation. It's just been crazy. Crazy busy.
Now it's Adam's turn.
Yeah, Addison. And was, yeah, I'll spoil my nephews and my niece. Okay. You have the dogs. I get my granddogs.
You should see all the food there. They took a dent in it though. And somebody made, I think, enchiladas with no cheese or something.
Oh.
You'll get to it now.
We're gonna give it another 5 minutes. 5-minute recess.
Add another 5-minute recess.
She's gonna go get the enchiladas and the chicken.
I know.
Don't do that.
I said, you're gonna go eat the enchiladas with no cheese.
No, I'm eating enchiladas with cheese. I might even put on extra cheese.
There is all that cheese.
Oh, did you get that card for Carl's thing?
I signed it, I don't know if Carl's. There it is. You just sign it. I don't know where the envelope is. Oh, maybe he's.
Last night. It's not that you've done.
I'll make sure you're looking an envelope. Kyle is making one.
I've kind of been creeping all that stuff.
Oh, what?
So I did have any taste buds at the beginning for like 8 days. And that's what I kind of just.
All right, Kyle can make one. Or we might have an.
I've been craving steak.
Did he sign it?
So I went to Buffalo to get the stuff.
Yeah.
And I got a cheeseburger at McDonald's.
Was the best thing you
I
ever.
got so sick. Yes. You want It's the little thin cheeseburger, but it's
just.
yeah, my son was like, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we file them in a certain area. We're working on that.
I was gonna have that here by the boots and
That kind of title by itself doesn't state anything. They need to look for it with the complaint.
We'll put down the
Yeah.
It's a freshly hot book. We do monthly birthday hot ones. But then this one's also for the divide.
Do not consider these.
And the Kyla was my card.
Huh?
Did Kyla make?
She did. Did you see the back, like, the back tells you where it was taken?
I
And then
don't
it's.
know why I bring this.
I have lots of cards from Kyla.
She used the previous cards.
And then like I did that right because nice to meet you. It's more at work. She started off, she's like, I know. Cause you know, her brother and sister are gonna go to register.
You guys have some brothers and sisters? Oh. They're different marriage, I guess.
Her mom and her dad were married.
Oh.
So on the adoptive roadway, it's all in the packet. Should we add that back to the agenda or is it not urgent?
We can include that, so it's in the actual policy procedures.
Okay.
We have a 1 o'clock, but I want to be able to have more specific.
I knew it when I seen this, I was like, ooh, we have a long one.
Yeah. I didn't think we were gonna get to 20 hours. That's not surprising. We got nearly.
How fast you want to do action items?
We could actually have to do it.
I scared my daughter.
I guess so.
I even showered this morning. I don't know what happened. It was like,
I'm here online, guys. Sorry, I'm having stomach problems.
I scared you away.
Oh, you can't hear it, your stomach problems.
Don't worry about it, Kim. We'll make up sometime.
We need to do a wellness check before we start our meeting. How's everyone feeling? How's your illness?
Yes, it is.
Is it?
I triple checked this. Triple.
Is this the time that I should give them copies of the sheriff's reports?
No.
No.
I wasn't good.
It's
I
not.
have one for you.
I triple checked this, but that's where I did.
Well, let's see, when is this date? 5/17.
We have a special meeting next week anyway, so that's me and the attorneys can talk about that.
Okay.
There's,
5/17 is Friday.
Yeah, that's this week.
I know this.
And you know what, I didn't look at that from yesterday, well, again, I'm sick, so I left like 3 o'clock.
You can add it to action item.
No, because we approved the
It's
agenda.
right there. It's right there. I just must just skip on it.
It happens.
Hannah starts Friday full time?
Yes, because it's after the 16th, so she'll be here Friday and then Monday. I know, and you know what, she's gonna be great.
I can tell. I can tell.
Yeah.
Should we do a special meeting and just knock it out tomorrow? We've done that in the past for liquor licenses.
We have, I would say we just knock it out on Tuesday. That's not too late, right?
It's, the deadline's this Friday.
Yeah, the deadline is the 17th.
Yeah.
Here's the VJ came out so good.
Thank you.
My people came out amazing.
Yay.
Just made it over with. Do you want to do something on a check? Ooh, and there's deviled eggs. Who made the deviled eggs?
I don't know.
Mm.
Chicken recorders did dessert.
Right.
So everything.
And Kyla,
Fruits and.
so Kyla made, a cake from scratch, and she put this caramel icing, on it. It looks amazing.
Oh, yeah, she did make the cake and then everything else. I know, Carl, I'm with you. You gotta show on the road.
And somebody, they made tortillas and Indian fried rice.
Oh, wow.
And you know, I was thinking about that last night.
And I brought the beans, I was making an Indian taco.
You guys need another 5-minute recess or?
It was
You're gonna
good.
live.
Come back.
No, I just meant to go get food.
No, we need a 30-minute reset. Go chow down. I should have my computer.
We have to apologize to Steve. Or he comes in asking if he wants to eat.
Yeah.
Which is Steve.
Our
For
one
one
o'clock
o'clock.
on CTSI.
Um,
So next time someone, takes a car for the road. You bring the call.
I'll get it once.
She was trying to will this way.
No.
She told me about it.
It was just like a little bitch. And freaking Ryan kept got a picture.
At least you told the sheriff.
I told him I was shaking in my boots because I didn't even have 2,000 miles on that freaking car.
When I was a senior in high school, we were just riding around. It was raining. And I went into a ditch. And Claude Pino pulled me out. But in the meantime, it was 5-speed. And I blew a piston.
Oh,
And when I got it home, I told my dad that I got stuck in a mud puddle at school. He was like, "It's cool." I was like, "Yeah."
he's like, that.
He's like, "Let's go to school. You show me this hole." He was like, "Okay." So I had to take him to the ditch that I went into.
Quick, everyone, make a mud hole.
You're like,
I'm so afraid to tell him.
you're like, did I tell you school or somewhere
On my
around?
way to school. Up by where PQ is now, one of those little side roads, I just slid right into the ditch.
So we'll just make a motion to approve it right now. We can ratify that day.
Okay.
Yeah.
John, are you on?
John ran away to get food. Hearing all this talk.
I'm here. I'm just having trouble finding my unmute button.
Oh, so it looks like there's a liquor license that is expiring on Friday, so we need to get an approval for that. So what is the entity?
It is for.
So I have the paperwork here. If you wanted to consider it in a form of a motion, it would be for the Gardner Liquors, William Archer Field. And, everything's in good standing, no complaint.
Everything's in good
It just says
standing.
everything's good.
It's good to go.
I have his check and his paperwork, so if that's something you'd be willing to entertain in the form of a motion when we reconvene, that would be helpful to them. If you're not, we'd probably have to do a special meeting before Friday.
I'm good with it.
Okay.
So then like I said, I will. Yeah. And he kind of got it, you know what I mean, like, he should have come to my meetings, but he's like, with his mom passing away and I was pretty sworn on, I just got like, he did still get it here on time, so that's why I said, oh, and then I looked, I'm like, oh, wait.
Do you send notices out or just the state or
The
just?
state.
Okay.
This state, yes. They sent him a notice, they sent him a letter, how much they owe, questions they have for them if they have any. Yes.
Where'd you get the salad, Erica?
It's a power bowl. It was my breakfast.
That's your breakfast?
Still tastes yummy. I got it from the mercantile.
I guess I can go online. I was just gonna sit through the same jokes and eat. Questions on the entrance.
Up in the
All right. Looks like we're ready to reconvene. We'll go back to session.
Maybe more.
Time is 12:37. So, additional proclamations, next have ordinance number 24-01. Amended or stated ordinance 20-0, adopting penalties for any persons convicted of illegal dumping of solid waste in Huerfano County, and adopting a reward for individuals providing information that leads to successful conviction of the person committing the act of illegal dumping.
Entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 24-01. So is this first reading, or does this have to come back again?
First reading has come back for second reading.
Okay.
Have a motion? Go ahead, second.
Second that.
The motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote.
Chairman Bishop,
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier,
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn.
Yes.
Motion passes. Commissioner, just passed a resolution appointing Wanda Newsom to the Spanish Peaks Library District Board of Trustees for term expiring on September 1st, 2028.
Make a motion to approve resolution 24-what?
What's the number, Erica? I didn't get that before.
Appointing,
I think you're right, 20 or 21.
All right.
appointing Rhonda Newsom to the Spanish Peaks Library District Board of Trustees for a term expiring on September 1st, 2028.
I second that.
The motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote.
Chairman Glisher,
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier,
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn.
Yes.
Motion passes. Next, I have you a letter from Frank Oberlin requesting an address be issued for his property off of County Road 576.
I get my computer, so I don't have that.
So while I generally don't agree with allowing addresses until we have a building permit, I think that these circumstances would justify it in the location on County Road 576. So I'm going to make a motion to allow the building department to issue an address for this property. Mr. Oberlin.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second, and it looks like Mr. Oberlin has his hand up for discussion.
I was just logging in.
Thank you for hanging in there with us.
Rolling in the right direction, so all I can do is detrack it at this point.
Any other?
I do have discussion.
Yes. You want to
So-
come up so they can hear you?
So what we'll need is we'll need to have him show us where the location of where the proposed house is, because we do it, or where the easement's gonna be, so we can get it addressed properly. So we'll need to have that information.
You want it in the form of like GPS coordinates?
If he, well, he,
So I don't think this needs to be a motion. We have to reach out to him to set up the address and then that goes in the standard process for
Gotcha.
second address. So once it's approved, the building department just needs to reach out to Mr. Oberlin, tell him that it's approved, give him a letter, and then say, we need you to provide the coordinates of the access.
okay.
Any
I didn't-
questions
wasn't
on that
expecting it.
process, Mr. Oberlin?
Just to clarify, are you wanting the location of the RV or the location of the proposed permanent residence?
The location, go ahead.
Neither the location of where your driveway will access the county road.
Okay, and that's more or less on the aerial attachment that I provided.
We actually need to go ahead and punch it, but the building department will be in touch to discuss it with you.
Very good. Understood.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote.
Chairman Busher,
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Gara,
Yes.
motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Oberlin.
Yes,
Thank you for your consideration, commissioners. Much appreciated.
Absolutely.
You're welcome.
All right, commissioners, next I have for you a bulk water application from Ben and Jay Houghton. This is a non-county resident application for bulk water in Gardner. My use staff has reviewed the property and found no code violations. Staff recommends approval.
I make motion to accept the bulk water application 24002.
Second.
The motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote.
Chairman Busher,
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Gara,
Yes.
motion passes. Next, I have a contract with emergency management for emergency management consulting. This is a contract that will allow us to continue to work with Brittany during the transition between emergency managers and allow her to complete some of the projects she has on the plate. Basically, new emergency manager can come in, start fresh, and get to know the county, get to know the process and all the bells and whistles before it's time to look at everything.
And this is a month by month, is that what you said?
Yep, month basis.
Any questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to enter into a contract for services agreement with Charles Emergency Management and Consulting LLC on a month-to-month basis at a rate of $7,000 per month.
A motion, do I have a second?
Second that.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
And can we, as, I'm sorry, I'm trying to find in that. We look at that again in a month or two, just to make sure that everything is.
Yeah,
properly on that, and the hourly rate and all of that.
Okay, the hourly rate for that to be activated, yeah, that would come before you separately. It's in there as provision just in case it's needed. But we can bring it back up to you, I want to say 2 months from now, or
Yeah, to see how it's going. And one thing I was concerned about is the contractual on a monthly basis and then a rather large hourly cost as well, and wanted to kind of justify where that would be and how that would work.
yeah, so
That's what I was thinking of.
the monthly is for, essentially for all of those things that are listed under section 2. The hourly is for if we have a fire or something like that, a major disaster.
Over and above.
Over and above.
Okay.
That's what that's for.
Okay.
And through that, you would have to approve, go activating that rate.
No, okay, good. That sounds, yeah. Okay, second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote.
Chairman Bishop,
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Motion passes. Commissioners, next I have for you a letter to CDOT Region 2, local agency, confirming our commitment to the overmatch required to move forward with the project to replace County Road 543 Bridge over the Huerfano River. The amount of the overmatch required is $117,970.61. We will discuss with the CDOT local agency team that our preferred way forward to put our project out to bid and submit a request for additional funding to CDOT based on the actual bid results. This will strengthen the county's request and minimize risk that the bid results could exceed in year's estimates. Per CDOT process, it does have to, we do have to send them this letter before they can agree for the project to put out to bid.
Make the motion to accept the Huerfano River Bridge project overmatch commitment.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote.
Chairman Bishop,
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier,
Yes.
Commissioner Bell,
Yes.
motion passes. Commissioners, next I have for you a work order for Garver to begin design engineering for our airfield electrical rehab project, as well as a letter from FAA approving the scope of work and fee proposal related to this work order. Our goal is to have construction documents put together for this project and put out to bid by late summer 2024. This allows FAA to commit to funding this year for the county to include this project in our 2025 budget. We anticipate the construction of this project to begin in late spring 2025. There are some typos in the FAA letter that's in your packet. I do now have the correct letter from FAA that lists out the correct engineering firm.
But the meat of the concept doesn't change.
Meat has not changed.
Thank you.
Can we add any lighting for Carter?
No,
I know it's a bit.
I'll update for Gardner later on.
Motion to approve Garver work order number 2 for the airfield lighting and signage rehab project in the amount of $246,030.
Second that.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote.
Chairman Bishop,
Can I ask a question before I vote? So on the recommendation, on the motion, it's got 246,030. And on the Garver payment, it's 245,030.
oh, sorry, I should have mentioned that. So the work order is for the full project, including the construction oversight. The approval does not include the construction oversight. That approval comes with the construction approval from FAA.
Okay, so
Difference. $1,000.
Yes.
which one are we, is it 246?
So you want to approve the 246. That's the amount for the work order total, but the work order includes the design phase and construction phase.
Right. But the number on page 296 of our packet is different than the number on page 294.
$5,000.
One's 245, one's 246.
The 245 number is correct. That's a typo on my end.
Okay.
Okay, I amended my motion to 245 over here.
Second that.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote.
Chairman Boucher,
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
motion passes. Commissioner, next up to you, purchase order number 249 for the Gardner, for fire hydrant in Gardner. This is to Windwater Front Range in the total amount of $4,146.98.
Page down, I'm trying to get to it.
Page 328.
Make a motion to approve purchase order number 249 to Windwater Front Range, amount of $4,146.98.
Second that.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote.
Chairman Boucher,
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
motion passes. Commissioner, just asking you a design scope amendment for the Fox Theater Phase 2 rehabilitation project. This design work, which is covered by a DOLA Energy Impact Grant, will help finalize the plans for the Fox Theater Phase 2 rehab project and allow us to tighten up cost estimates. This is, just so you know what we're amending here, this is an amendment to our design contract for the energy performance contracting project.
And is that mainly because of the roof or ceiling or whatever you call it? That
So the DOLA grant includes one, fixing the fly-off roof, which is why the box is open right now. And it also includes reinstalling the HVAC system, which was uninstalled during the roof rehabilitation, and upgrading that system. It also includes electrical upgrades to allow for installation of modern lighting systems and sound systems in the box. Amongst other structural fixes.
it showed up in the interim. Make motion to accept the Phase 2 rehab project and oh crap, where is it?
$26,000.
$26,000. Yeah. The amount of 27.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote.
Chairman Busher,
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
motion passes. Commissioners, next I have you for a change order from McKinstry to evaluate an HVAC, to execute, excuse me, an HVAC testing and balancing scope at the law enforcement center in the sheriff's office. This work will ensure the building is as comfortable as possible this summer. The amount of the request is $22.85. This amount will be taken entirely from the energy performance contracting contingency funds. This is approval to spend contingency funds. I will note that there is that when it was previously presented to you, this was a little bit cheaper. McKinstry realized that they had been able to include $13,500 worth of expenses that they've already incurred to get this project moving along and get everything scoped out. So they have requested that change to bring the total amount to that $22.85 number.
I'll make a motion to approve the McKinstry change order request number 11. In the amount of $25,022.85.
Second that.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote.
Chairman Busher,
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier,
Yes.
Commissioner Joe.
Yes.
Motion passes. And that is the end of action items. There's one,
Yes. Carl, we do have a liquor license renewal and it is for the, smallest liquor store in the world, state of Colorado, in Gardner. It says they're in good standings, but it is due on Friday, so we were gonna, see if
It
anyone.
was submitted. We forgot to.
Yeah, didn't make the
Oh,
agenda,
okay.
but it's for the Gardner Liquor Store and the representative is William R. Trujillo.
No violations or,
No violations. He was on time, has his payments, he's good to go.
make motion to accept the liquor license renewal.
Second.
A motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote.
Kevin Bush,
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier,
Yes.
Commissioner Jett,
Yes.
motion passes.
I think you ought to apply for Guinness Book of
Yeah.
Records, capitalize upon that thing. That'd be great.
Okay,
'Cause that's gotta be the smallest.
so, we're going to do correspondence.
Today. This is me, this is you. Today's the. And then.
Commissioners, item 8A is 2024 summer roadshow invitation. The Colorado Broadband Office is hosting an event May 21st at 2 p.m. in the Huerfano County Community Center. Item 8B is your April 2024 CAP monthly reports. 8C is a health awareness from CPSI on Future Life Understanding Organization. 8D is to update the CPSI on accessibility requirements for Colorado government. 8E is another temporal update celebrating Marilyn Wagner's retirement. 8F is an alternate update on security control, which is 2. Item 8G is to update the CPSI on safe and fun county fairs. 8H is an alternate update for CPSI on volunteer engagement by counties. 8I is a email from the CSU, the CU Boulder, Master Environment students that submitted outdoor recreation and Main Street Community Development Action Plan, which is available on the county website. And the major goals and actions are attached to that email. Item 8J is a letter from Don Pino, appreciating Wallace Hallahan, our mitigation and planning specialist. 8K is your GPID bulk water monthly report for April. 8L is your GPID building register for April. And 8M is your system totals report for GPID. 20N is your March 2024 preliminary expense report. 8O is your April 2024 preliminary expense report. 8P is your lead balances for as of May 4, 2024. 8Q is a self-study on the jail-based behavioral health services program in the Huerfano County Jail. 8R is the May 1st, 2024 newsletter from Senator Pelton. And 8S is a letter of resignation from Stephanie Thompson from the tourism board.
On to staff reports.
Commissioners, financial accident report, the wrong version got in there that didn't quite print, so I will update you with that later on. I will say that the crane is going to be in Gardner on Monday to reset the vault toilet.
Oh, nice.
Also included there the first draft of the Mountain Park operating agreement. This is what I submitted to PSC. They are still working on reviewing that, and hopefully we'll be able to discuss that at your next meeting. And that is the end of correspondence. And that's sorry, the end of my admin report.
Thank you.
They have a time that they're gonna be there with the crane.
Yes.
Might be kind of interesting to watch. See if anything explodes or.
Hopefully not. Nothing should be explosive in there. They should be there at 7. The crew should be there at 7, and the crane should be there at 9. So they should have it complete by the afternoon.
Anything from the attorney?
No, nothing from the attorney at this time.
Moving right along. A need for executive session.
Yes, seeing as it is 1 o'clock, I would actually come back to the executive session after our workshops.
So we will take a recess for workshops and then we move into an executive session following the workshop, which will be sometime after the last scheduled meeting at 2 p.m.
Might be good to go ahead and make the motion for the executive session and then come back and also make sure, there's no action items after the executive session.
Okay.
Make a motion for executive session for the purpose of determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategy for negotiations and or instructing negotiators under CRS 246402-4E, specifically Huerfano County water rights and collaboration with Huerfano County Water Conservancy District.
Second that.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote.
Chairman Blucher,
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Motion passes. So now we recess.
Recess and go into
Our 1 o'clock.
meeting. Which is now.
Thank you, everyone. We're going to recess to our 1 o'clock and then our 2 o'clock and then executive session, but no decisions will be made in or after executive session. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
All right. Steve, you want to come up? All right.